Aloha, beautiful souls, and welcome to another pick a card reading here at Transform with Rian. And today's question we're going to be answering is, what does your future spouse find irresistible about you? So I'm posting this video a little bit late because I totally got my dates mixed up, but let's look at your options here. So your first option is the Queen of Wands from the Decolonized Tarot deck. And we also have this version of the Queen of Wands for choice number 2. And this comes from the Tarot of the Divine deck. And then lastly, I don't know why I can't remember the name of this deck. The Fablemakers. Oh my gosh, this one. The Fablemaker's animated tarot deck. I'll show you the card here. I just needed to remind myself of the name. So we have this Queen of Wands right here from the Fablemaker's animated tarot deck. You can see the little wand action there. Wow. So go ahead and take a moment to tune into the energies of your future spouse and see which one of those 3 cards is calling for you. And let's get started with group number 1. So group number 1, welcome to your reading, your pick a card reading to find out more on what your future spouse finds irresistible about you. So let's I wanted to pull one of these cards here first. Okay, I guess we are going to take that. So there's actually 2 that came out. So lots of abundance here with what your future spouse finds irresistible about you. The first message we have is, I am a voice. And the second one here is, I will pray. So I'm actually getting a couple of messages from these 2 cards. The first one with I am a voice, what I'm hearing is your future spouse, for those of you that maybe are musically inclined, they love how you play music either on an instrument or how well you sing. All right, they love the sound of your singing voice. Now that's regardless of whether or not you consider yourself a professional singer. Like, I know many people who I go to karaoke with and their voices sound amazing, but they would never say that they're a singer. But you, my dear, are a singer. You have a lovely voice, and I'm getting the sense here that your future spouse really likes hearing you sing. And again, if you play an instrument, they really love that about you. It's kind of like, you know how classically people think that someone who plays the guitar or the drums or the piano is like super sexy? I feel like it's one of those things. Whether or not it's that instrument in particular that you play, your future spouse finds it super attractive, okay? And this one here with the I will pray card, I'll show it to you again. I'm seeing that your future spouse really loves how, like, cuddleable you are. Is that even a word? It's like you're so cuddly, right? They love cuddling with you. They feel like you're actually a really good cuddler is what I'm getting as well from this card, and they find it really irresistible. It's almost like I'm seeing it's hard for them to keep their hands off of you. Like, they want to be in constant physical contact with you because you're just that irresistible to them. And you're a good hugger, probably a good cuddler, like I said. Maybe it's something even, I'm hearing the word pheromones, like you have some scent about you that they just love and they can't get enough of. It's probably, I've seen this in a couple of like romance shows from Thailand, where they do this like sniff kiss thing. We do that to babies, like in Filipino culture, where you go like that. I don't know if you heard it. Like that, right? So it's like a sniff kiss. And I feel like your future spouse loves your scent that much that maybe they do something like that. Or I know some people even like to cuddle the pillow of their future spouse because it has their scent on it. You know what I'm saying? Or t-shirts. I don't know. Let me know if you're one of those people in the comments down below who like to wear your partner's clothing or t-shirts. So I think that's definitely a very strong feature that you have that your future spouse finds irresistible. Now, let's pick some tarot cards as well to find out more on what your future spouse finds irresistible. Ooh. and attractive about you. Okay, so we have those. I'm going to draw 4 more cards, but I'll show you this first round. We have Temperance. Also, we have the Queen of Swords. We have Page of Pentacles. So it feels like we're getting a lot of court cards here. And King of Cups. Okay, let's get some more. And then we'll see what messages are coming through. I'm already getting some, but I'm trying this thing where, you know, I reveal all the cards first and then see what messages I'm getting as a whole, and then we kind of like tune in to the individual cards. So we'll give that a whirl. Again, more court cards, my goodness. So Page of Cups. The 5 of Pentacles. King of Wands. And last but not least, what a beautiful card to sort of wrap up the tarot. The 2 of Cups. Amazing. Oh my gosh, this is like the best card to have in any kind of love reading, I feel. Because there's like no doubt about interpreting this. With the Lover's card, it can have multiple meanings, not just strictly about like soulmates. It can be speaking about choice as well. So I find that the 2 of Cups is definitely a stronger marker when it comes to romance, you know? Okay, so one of the messages that I was getting with the first round of cards, which still sort of lingers after revealing the second round of cards, is that your future spouse really likes how, in a way, you're a bit unpredictable, okay? Like you always surprise them. And why do I say that? Because we have all of these court cards here, okay? Queen of Swords, Page of Pentacles, King of Cups, Page of Cups, King of Wands. So look at that. 5 out of your 8 tarot cards are court cards. And so they each come with their own personality and their own traits, right? And so I feel like as far as your personality goes, your future spouse is never bored of your personality. You always say something very interesting. You always do something that almost like throws them off guard in a way. And I don't mean that in a bad way where you're kind of like multiple personalities or something like that. Like, no, not at all. It's more just like you are constantly growing and evolving as a person. And so through the years, through the months perhaps even, you're never that same person. And I get here that your future spouse feels like you both are able to grow together, which I think is sort of one of the key elements of a long-term relationship. That's just my personal opinion. But it would seem that your future spouse agrees with that notion as well, because they don't want to get bored. They don't want someone who is going to be that same person they were on the day they met, like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, that type of thing. They definitely desire someone who can grow and evolve and, you know, become better versions of themselves. What I'm seeing here too with the King of Cups as well as the Page of Cups, and let me see what else we have. Okay, so we have 2 cups elements here as far as the court cards go. So from the Page of Cups and the King of Cups, what I'm getting here is it's what your future spouse really appreciates about you is how emotionally in tune you are with them. It's like you can really sense how they're feeling and respond accordingly, okay? And I know maybe when we think of like empathy, it might not be the most irresistible trait, but what I really feel is such a key component of a long-term relationship is that sort of empathy for each other and understanding of each other's emotional states and how to respond to them in any given moment, right? That's the importance of a long-term bond, is being able to be in tune with each other and be able to support each other, cheer each other on, be there as a shoulder to cry on, be there as sort of also even a person who can motivate another person when they're feeling kind of lazy or down or unconfident, right? Now, what I'm seeing here too with the Queen of Swords is that your future spouse really appreciates that you say what's on your mind, okay? That you're not someone where they have to kind of guess what you're thinking, how you're feeling, your opinion on something. Like, you're very straightforward, you're very honest, and they really find that irresistible too. I think that's part of this combo of like your always surprising them, at how you openly share your thoughts and feelings, and you don't leave any room for doubt. Sometimes in relationships, we think that after we've known somebody for a while, they should be able to read us properly, right? Read our emotions. But that's not always true. Sometimes you can be hard to sort of assess, right? Sometimes maybe your partner is also going through something and they just don't have the bandwidth or the energy to really be observant and play this guessing game, and they maybe would just appreciate being told, like, what is it? Like, what's the issue here? Can you just completely honestly say it out loud? Like, lay all your cards out on the table kind of thing. And that's what I'm getting with this Queen of Swords, is with them, you lay your cards out on the table. I'm also hearing this message from your future spouse's, higher self, spirit, that they probably were in a relationship in the past where someone was a bit manipulative. Maybe they weren't always honest. They did a lot of things behind their back, right? And so I feel like it's really important to have this very candid, upfront, honest person in their life for a long-term relationship. Okay, so that's what they love about you. They find irresistible about you because of that comparison with their past experiences. I see here too that you're also very kind. You're very giving. I'm hearing also that doesn't necessarily it's not necessarily limited to working with other people, like doing charity work, doing favors for people. But I'm also hearing too that in the bedroom, you're also very giving, and you're very focused, and you take into account your partner's pleasure as well. So there's a little bit more, I guess, 18 and over kind of bit of knowledge for you. What else do we have here? So I see here with the Temperance card that what I'm hearing is your pace of life is very similar to theirs. You also have this Page of Pentacles energy, okay? So your future spouse appreciates your kind of like the speed at which you do things, right? You're never in a rush, but you're also not moving too slow. It's like that just right pace for them. And so as far as like time goes, you're very much in sync, okay? You know how sometimes you see in TV shows that one person is always running behind and the other person is yelling at them like, come on, hurry up, you should have taken care of that, last night, and now we're running behind, we're running late. Like, there's this dichotomy. And as far as like timeliness, promptness, there's like a big difference between the two, right? And I see here that both of you are very much in sync. So there's not much waiting happening, is what I'm hearing here. And it's almost like, when we talk about divine timing in our own personal lives, when things come in just when they need to be, and we can't rush it, or they come in as a surprise, maybe sooner than we expect at times. I feel this very sort of Goldilocks and the Three Bears vibe, where the timing is always just right between you two, where it seems like, when you plan to do things together, or when some event involves the both of you, it always seems to come at such a good time for both of your schedules, okay? Like, I'm hearing random things like, oh, when you are invited for a party or a celebration, or maybe there's a show you want to catch, or some opening event that you want to attend. It just so happens that your partner, your future spouse, is also available that day. Like, there's hardly any issues with schedule conflicts. And so, kind of thinking about this irresistibility, it's almost like your future spouse feels as if like you're the perfect match for them. Like, there's all these signs and synchronicities in just day-to-day life that confirms to them that, hey, we're meant to be together. We're meant to walk this path of life together, because everything we've wanted to do, everything that we share, always seems to line up between the two of us. And you also got the King of Wands with this Queen of Wands that we had as your option. So the fact that you have the King and Queen of Wands together just makes it very clear, very evident that your future spouse finds you incredibly magnetic, incredibly irresistible, kind of like what we talked about. And I'm sensing, we'll see what the other readings show, but what I'm sensing here is that on all levels, physical, emotional, spiritual, it's like you are just nailing it when it comes to being a match for them in their eyes, in their opinion, right? And it's just like they couldn't even have come up with a better partner, right? Even if they had to like manifest you out of thin air, like they wouldn't have come close to the actual reality of the match that they feel they have with you. And that, I think, really wraps up nicely this Two of Cups. It really just affirms here that, again, physically irresistible, emotionally connected, spiritually like in tune. So your future spouse, I'm wondering how the other readings are going to go, because I just feel like this is a match made in heaven, period. So congratulations. I feel like this is definitely a relationship that's probably going to last beyond this lifetime as well, if you haven't had past lifetimes together. So I hope you enjoyed this reading. Let me know what resonated most with you in the comments down below. If you enjoyed any part of this reading, please give this video a thumbs up. I would truly appreciate that. And you know, lately my posting has been a bit inconsistent. I try to post 3 times a week, but the days seem to shift. So please, if you enjoy my readings, make sure you subscribe to my channel and turn on the notifications so you don't miss out on a future reading. I will see you all next time, loves. Take care. Hello there, Group 2. Welcome to your pick a card reading to find out what your future spouse finds irresistible about you. So you were drawn to the Tarot of the Divine, representation of the Queen of Wands. So we have the amazing and beautiful goddess Pele from my birth state, Hawaii. So let's dive into your reading. We're going to pull a card from this deck here to kick us off, and then we'll get the tarot, okay? So you have I feel confident. Ooh, so what a powerful message to begin your reading. And to be honest, that's really the vibe of the Queen of Wands, is someone who's confident, magnetic, warm, personable, attractive, very alluring energy, okay? So with this I feel confident here, I can't help but be drawn to this mermaid's eyes. I mean, let's look at that again. Do you see these golden eyes, further highlighted by this golden yellow orange makeup? So definitely your future spouse loves your eyes, and I'm hearing like regardless of eye color, it's like that sort of piercing look is what your future spouse probably felt most drawn to when you were first getting to know each other, okay? You know, they say like eyes are the windows to the soul. And so your future spouse thinks your eyes are very, very beautiful, and it's one of the ways in which they feel really connected to you, like when you have eye contact. So just as a suggestion, as a tip that's very important to your future spouse, is when you're speaking together, sharing time together, having as much eye contact as possible. And actually, I remember reading somewhere that the longer you maintain eye contact with someone, there's this sort of bond and connection that forms between you and this other person, and it helps you actually feel closer to somebody, whether you intend to be close to them in that way or not. So it's even like as you're maybe at work and you're speaking to your coworkers, if you maintain eye contact with them, like that solidifies that bond, and it can help sort of strengthen this sort of like team mentality, like we're in this together, we got each other's back, like almost that type of thing. It can solidify that. I guess also too, though, when you're really staring into somebody's eyes, you can start to get a sense of how honest and truthful they are, and if you guys are sort of an energetic match. Like, can you trust them? Are you on the same wavelength? Do you share the same beliefs? That type of thing. But regardless, I do remember reading that that definitely strengthens a bond in a relationship, almost in the same way as like physical touch does. Okay, that's why hugs are so powerful, you know. Um, and I mean, kissing is too, but I feel like hugs are, there's a lot more research about how important it is, that sort of like body to body contact in forming a strong bond with someone. Um, Also, just taking into account the words on the bottom of this card, I feel confident. So your future spouse finds your, I'm hearing bravery really irresistible to them. Maybe they're a bit opposite of you, is what I'm hearing for many of you, that they're maybe more shy and reserved, and you're sort of that person that's more sociable, right? Like you're the one that will get out there and meet people in a crowd and introduce yourself and make tons of friends, and maybe they're the more shy, introverted, quiet type. So they like that about you. They like that you're kind of not exactly the same as them. And they think it's really sexy how you stand up for yourself, how maybe you even stand up for others, okay? And how you share your opinions. Sometimes I'm hearing that you can be a bit aggressive or forceful when you share your opinions, but it doesn't necessarily mean that people don't agree with you, you know? Maybe sometimes they just wish you could soften up the tone a bit. But this kind of take charge attitude you have, oh my god, is like really sexy and irresistible to your future spouse. This take charge, and my gosh, I was gonna pull all your cards out before I kind of dove into the tarot, but we were just talking about take charge attitude, and look what your first card is that came out. The Emperor. Thank you, Spirit, for letting us know we are on the right track here. So they like that you, again, are that type of person that likes to take charge and take control of the situation, that you have a lot of boss energy, to be honest. We have the Queen of Swords. We also have Seven of Coins. Again, I'm getting a lot of messages. I'm trying to be a little bit more like at ease with sharing the messages. But I keep getting so many downloads when I pull the cards. Like in that instant, they're revealed. So Page of Cups there. Eight of Coins. What is this one? Ace of Cups. Six of Coins. And, okay, I grabbed these two and Spirit was like, yep, get those two. Even though I tended to only grab 8, you get a bonus card. How's that? Five of Wands. And your bonus is the Six of Swords. So I'm getting a lot of messages here, again, about just how brave and confident you are. Like with this, Five of Wands. What I'm hearing with this card right here, as well as the Six of Coins, and also this Eight of Coins, some of the combined message overall, and then we can see what the individual cards might want to share, is it's kind of like you have this Robin Hood energy about you, where you are like a hero, a heroine, in the story of not only a future spouse, but a lot of other people. You do so much good out there in the world, and you're not intimidated by people who maybe are in a higher position than you. It's like you stand for justice. Okay, we have the Queen of Swords, which is air energy. So like Libra, Aquarius, Gemini. One of the things those air signs, and the Queen of Wands as well, hold very high in their value system is truth and justice. okay? It's like, it doesn't matter who you are. If you are doing something wrong, like, you need to be called out on it. You need to have the proper consequences, okay? So I feel like, your future spouse really finds this not only irresistible, but very respectable about you, that it doesn't matter if this person is in a higher social bracket than you, or is in a higher position in the workplace than you. If you feel like they're doing something shady or wrong, like, you're gonna call them out on it, you know? And you're not gonna let it slide just because of their position and their status. It's like, no, what's wrong is wrong, what's right is right. Like, that type of mentality. And you stay very, very true to your morals here. Some people, I feel like when they talk about their morals, it's that vibe of like, do as I say, not as I do. Are you familiar with that? Do you know what I'm talking about? Has anyone said that to you before? Usually it's like a parent or another adult, where it's like, where you say like, hey, but you don't, eat all your vegetables. Why do I have to eat all my vegetables? And that person is like, do as I say, not as I do. Meaning, like, you have to be the better person, and they could sort of like slack off and what's the word? Cheat, right? And I feel like you hold yourself to a very high standard, and you're not a hypocrite in that way, and you hold other people to that same standard again of right and wrong. It's not about being perfect per se, and it's not about being the most skilled or adept in something. It's not about that. It's just more like, if I'm giving my best, you give your best. If I'm following the rules, you follow the rules, right? Like, that kind of standard and expectation. But again, it's not even just about you and your interaction with someone else, like the boss or whoever's like abusing their power kind of thing. But if you see them abusing their power and causing harm to someone else, you stand up for that person, okay? It's like, you're that person, I feel like, in those school stories, that stands up to the bully and is like everybody's hero. It's like David and Goliath. I think that's the story too, like from the Bible, David and Goliath, who, stood up against the giant who was terrorizing the town. Now here with the 7 of coins, I'm getting that vibe again of the opposites attract type of thing, where your future spouse is probably a little bit more soft-spoken, a little bit more meek, and so they really appreciate having you around, because I'm hearing from your future spouse that sometimes, maybe in social situations, they get a bit anxious, they get a bit nervous, and it's almost like they don't know what to do. They freeze on the spot when presented with some sort of social stressor or whatever. Might be they have a bit of anxiety, and they appreciate having you there as sort of someone who can be their rock, their foundation, like their backup. I feel like your future spouse does want to be a little bit more confident, just like how you are, but it's not as easy for them, okay? It's kind of reminding me actually of one of my very good friends that I've known for quite some time, and something happened at work where they were accusing him of something, and then he was telling me about what happened, after the fact. And as he was telling me the story, I was like, why didn't they say this? They need to prove this. They need to show you the documentation. They need to do X, Y, Z, and, to prove their allegations towards you. Otherwise, it's like wrong, and they're like bullying you and all this kind of stuff. And he was like, man, I wish you were there with me when this was happening, because when they were like accusing me of all this stuff, I was just so shell-shocked. It was like deer in headlights, if you know that phrase, right? Where it's like you're frozen in place, and you can't speak, you can't think, you can't do anything but just like stand there, and you never get to share your thoughts or opinions. And what I'm hearing is that can be how your future spouse is at times, and so they appreciate that you're sort of quick thinking on your feet, right? I feel like that's another trait here of the Queen of Swords, is someone who thinks quickly on their feet, quickly in their moment. They know how to like adapt within seconds and like process a lot of information all at once. And so it's almost like your mind as well, and your fighting spirit is what your future spouse finds irresistible about you. I'm hearing like all the phrases for these Asian countries, like "gambata, gambata ne," and "susuna," right? Um, kind of phrases coming in. I'm seeing here with this Eight of Coins that your future spouse also thinks you're really tough because we have this person here like sewing or putting together these kind of coin shapes with this thorny vine, and then her poor feet are on like stepping on them as well and getting all red and inflamed and bloody. And what I'm seeing here is sort of your tolerance level and your endurance in the eyes of your future spouse far exceeds anybody else, right? It's like you can power through and toughen up through crazy hardships. Again, it's that endurance and that stamina is like mind blowing to your future spouse. It's like when everyone else would have given up, it's like you're just getting started, honey. That's so amazing. Um, Now, we have the Page of Cups and the Ace of Cups here. I feel like there's something very deep and profound coming through with this card. So Ace of Cups and Page of Cups, they both represent like a new start, a fresh beginning, okay? The ace is in the realm of the number system, the numerology in the tarot, so ace, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then the page is the beginning stages for the court cards, page, knight, queen, king, okay? And so what I'm seeing here is you you bring about this new beginning in your future spouse's life, this emotional new beginning. It's like you're there first in a lot of ways. That doesn't necessarily mean like they were a virgin or something when they met you, so I don't mean it in that way, but it's like you're that first relationship where they truly felt secured, loved, protected. You're that first relationship where they feel seen and valued. um, you're kind of that first relationship where, to be a bit cheesy, is they really begin to understand what true love is. Um, and again, I see that they feel very safe around you because I'm looking at this bunny here. And you know, a bunny is one of the prey animals in the animal kingdom. Um, and they their speed and their ability to like hear sounds for when danger may be approaching is what keeps them alive and keeps them safe. And we have this bunny kind of going between the legs of this human boy. And so again, regardless of gender or sex, I feel like your future spouse maybe embodies a little bit more of that feminine energy, again regardless of gender or sex, and you have that more masculine energy, that protective instinct, that take action instinct, that like masculine energy that's just very powerful, doer, action oriented. And they tend to be maybe a bit more sensitive, right? When there's a lot of strong emotions around them, they tend to feel unsafe. They feel like they're in danger, so they kind of run away or again, freeze in place. And so with you, it's like a fresh start as well to managing these emotions, these fears, and you are sort of that example for them on what being brave looks like, what standing up for yourself looks like, what having high self-esteem looks like, okay? And then we have this sort of like side example here with the Six of Swords. What I'm hearing is that your future spouse thinks it's so sexy and irresistible that you can be put into any situation, put anywhere in the world, and it's like you're a survivor. Oh my god, I'm thinking of that Destiny's Child song. I'm a survivor, I'm not gonna give up, I'm a survive, keep on surviving. And I'm like, so the specific example that Spirit was showing me is that you perhaps are a type of person who likes to explore new places, whether that's within your country or even to international destinations, right? Where maybe some people are afraid to leave their geographic region, right? What they're familiar with, what they feel is very predictable. But you're like, oh no, let's go drive over there. Let's go to that country. I don't speak the language. Who cares? Like, it looks like fun. They have good food, whatever. And so they really appreciate that sort of outgoing energy that you have and how you can almost just tackle any problem that comes your way or any challenge, and you're not really phased by it, to be honest. It's just sort of like another Tuesday for you. You know what I'm saying? When something comes up, you're like, well, whatever, we got this, we could handle it. So very this can-do attitude, where no matter how rough things seem, again, you don't back down, like you don't give up, and you have that endurance to sort of last and see things through to the end when other people would have, you know, backed down or run away or given up. So that's what your future spouse finds crazy irresistible about you. Let me know what you thought of your reading in the comments down below. And please, 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 if you enjoyed any part of your reading, hit that like button for me. And as I kind of talked about in the last few posts, sometimes I lose track of dates and time, and I don't always post on my schedule, but I definitely try to post at least 3 times a week. So if you enjoy my readings and don't want to miss out when I post on something, not only should you subscribe, but also turn that notification bell on, okay? So you're notified when I post a new reading for you to get some lovely insight on. Well, see you next time, you brave, courageous soul, you. Bye. Hello there, group number 3. Welcome to your pick a card reading to find out more about what your future spouse finds irresistible about you. So, you were drawn to the Fablemaker's tarot version of the Queen of Wands. And look at that magical animated activity we got going around her wand. So, we're going to kick off your reading with one of the cards from this deck here. Wow, Spirit is actually telling me to get 2 for you. All right, so you get a bonus with this deck. So the first one, I will hope. So I have this beautiful angel child here holding this light. And I feel confident. Wow, this actually came out for group number 2. So if you were drawn to card number 2 as well, and you were kind of on the fence between 2 and 3, after this one, if you still feel called to hear the group 2's reading, make sure you go listen to that, okay? So what do we have here? So what I'm seeing as this combination of the energy between I will hope and I feel confident is you have this insane level of trust in the universe and in your life path, where it's like you have a level of optimism that maybe a lot of other people don't. And I will say what I'm feeling in this might be my own projection, I admit. That doesn't sound like the sexiest or most irresistible trait to kick off your reading. But let me tell you, when you're in a relationship with someone for the long term, do you really want to be with someone who's hella pessimistic and is always like, the glass is half full and like, woe is me, life sucks, blah, 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 right? No, that's not sexy at all. That is not attractive at all, at least not to me. I don't know about you, but I'm not here to, you know, take on my future spouse as like one of my clients or one of my patients. You know what I'm saying? And so I feel like your future spouse really loves this trait about you, that you're optimistic, you're full of hope, and you're full of trust that even though maybe things might feel tough at the moment, you have this unwavering faith that it will get better, you know? And your future spouse loves that about you. Maybe at times like they feel like they want to give up, or they're so done, or they spiral down into that negativity, and you bring them out of it. You reach out your hand and pull them back up to a space of at least neutrality, okay? And then eventually helping you get up to a more positive vibration. So I feel too, my group 3, looking at this, especially with this I will hope card. Excuse me. I sneezed. that many of you are probably light workers or star seeds. If that resonates with you, you know what I'm talking about. That you are here on this planet as sort of a positive force to raise the vibration of the people around you, your geographical locale, and by doing your part along with every other light worker, star seed, healer, you're raising the vibration of the planet Earth, okay? So I definitely feel like, again, you are a gift to the universe, to Earth, and your future spouse sees that. I mean, like, hello, how literal is this? Angel. You're like an angel, okay? And there's something very innocent about you as well, because we have this child here. It's like very innocent, very maybe some might call you naive, but I actually don't think you're naive at all. I think it's just other people's impression of you, you know, because they're more prone to pessimism and you're more prone to optimism. And sometimes people who are pessimistic, they look at someone who's so optimistic as someone who's naive, you know. But I'm also seeing, you know, I was drawn to this in reading number 2, but for a different reason. It's your eyes here, these golden eyes here. And what I'm seeing here is if anyone ever took the time to like look into your eyes and be open to feeling your soul, I feel there's a lot of wisdom there, okay? It's like you look young, maybe you act a bit young in some ways, what some people might call childish, you know, which I don't actually necessarily think is a bad thing, right? But you're an old soul. You're a very wise soul. And if people look into your eyes, despite whatever your appearances are, not only just by looks, but by your actions, you're actually very intelligent. You're very smart. And I think maybe in some cases people underestimate you, okay? Or overlook you, okay? And I feel like your future spouse kind of loves that about you, because it's, you know, it's really like the best of both worlds, right? You have this childlike wonder, someone who's super excited, optimistic, has hope for the future, but someone who's also very smart, very wise, who knows how the world truly works, but doesn't let the world dictate how you feel emotionally and how you live your life. Like you stay very true to yourself, is what I'm hearing, and you're not easily influenced by other people. And that, I think that's really sexy and irresistible, to be honest with you, okay? Because you're not like a sheep. You're not just walking around just going through the motions, doing what everyone else is doing just because everyone else is doing it. You know, you're a very independent, free thinker. So let's get some tarot here. Okay, Spirit was like, take that one and this one. And we have this part of the deck. Oops. Okay, there we go. That was pretty fast. Okay, so these cards actually flipped over, so let's reveal them first. We have the 6 of Cups. I don't know if you can see the movement there. It's the sparkles and the flowers are like blooming. Can you see? Yeah, there you go. And then we also have for you the Ace of Cups with the dove flying. Okay, my gosh, you have 2 doves now, right? On I Will Hope and the Ace of Cups. And we have the 8 of Coins as well. And the 3 of Cups. Cheers, kampai. Mabuhay. Ooh, I'm getting a lot of really, really good vibes here. But let's reveal all your cards first, okay? So we also, oh wow, another ace. Ace of Swords. With all the wind there. We have the Hermit. Okay, getting tons and tons of messages here. The World. Wow. then, last but not least, Five of Wands. And everyone kind of has like a different energy to the wands here. It looks like there's like a fire, a light, a earth vibration thing, plant, and water. Wow, super cool. I'll show this to you again, so you can take a look at all the different wands. It's making me think of like Avatar Last Airbender for some reason. Okay, so what I'm seeing here is, firstly, with the Ace of Cups and the Ace of Swords, I'm getting this beautiful blend that you have of like IQ, street smarts, or book smarts, I should say, and then with the Ace of Cups, sort of like this EQ, emotional quotient, and this sort of street smarts. So book smarts, street smarts. And what this is telling me is you have this beautiful blend of intelligence where you can take information, you can take like hard data and facts, things you're observing, and formulate some sort of solution, opinion on it, assessment, right, of what's happening. But you can also tune into trusting your gut, right? And even in those occasions where it's like all the facts line up but something feels off, you can tell that that something is off and then respond intuitively in that sense, okay? But again, taking in the whole picture here, not just going on a whim with your emotions and not having a little bit of groundedness to it as well. And I'm hearing that you process information really quickly, like you pick things up and you're a fast learner. So it looks like your future spouse definitely sees your intelligence as something that's very irresistible, is what I'm getting. And again, it's like you take in all this information, like things that people are saying, things that you're seeing that people are doing, or what you're observing about, you know, a situation, an object, whatever, and you process it so fast and then just come through with like next step, what you're going to do next, how you're going to respond so quickly. And it's oftentimes like the right thing, you know? With this Eight of Coins, I feel like that's affirming how quick you learn and how quick you adapt. I'm also hearing, you know, discipline and patience. So, you know, sometimes people feel like when they're presented with something, they have to act immediately. They have to act right away. And they forget that sometimes, well, I shouldn't say sometimes, always, there's an option to do nothing. I'm going to say that again because I feel like you'll get it. And if you don't, maybe this is something that will click in your mind for you, something that you've known in here, but maybe you couldn't explain here logically. But people forget that when you are presented with a situation, that they think that you have to do either A or do either B, and then they forget about this third or whatever fourth, fifth option of C, do nothing, just wait and see. You know, in our sort of fast-paced world, especially in the Western world, we forget about that option. And I feel you use that very strategically. And so your future spouse is, I feel like they're learning a lot from you. I feel like in a way you're like a teacher to your future spouse. And in some ways, maybe even like a role model, okay? And like you help them better themselves, okay? And that's part of that irresistible quality that you have to them. I'm seeing also here with the Hermit that you're not afraid to stand alone, that you're not afraid to go against the popular opinion, you know, that you have, again, this wisdom. We have this world card. You have this worldly wisdom. And it's because, again, starseed, light worker, like you're probably more connected with your past incarnations than most people are on the planet. And so there's just things that like you just know, right? Like there's no way to explain how you know. again, some people call it intuition, but I think for you, not only is it intuition, but there's this element of like past life experiences, past life wisdom that you're able to utilize in this lifetime here. And it's almost like you can see how people are falling into these repeat patterns from history, you know, where a lot of it maybe has to do with this pride that some people have. You know, it's like how Rome became this great empire and then it fell. It's sort of this pride and this, I think maybe the more fancy word is like hubris, and how that can be your downfall. Or it's easy for you to see then when people are kind of going down the same path when they don't see it. It's like, oh, you've been there before. And the outcome seems like it's going to be the same, but that person doesn't realize it. You know, I see it a lot in like relationships where people maybe habitually date the same kind of person. You know, it's just like different looks, maybe different age, whatever, but personality wise and like energy wise, it's the same type of person, same type of energy. And some people think like, oh, they look different, so it must be something different, right? Like you don't fall for that kind of trick. You're like, oh, I feel like I've seen this before, and it seems like someone's trying to pull a fast one on me, someone's trying to trick me again, but using a different, you know, mask this time, but I can see through that mask. That's what I feel is this wisdom that you carry with you, and this, again, almost like psychic ability, this intuitive ability. It's like insane. So again, here with the Five of Wands, it's like you're not afraid to voice an alternative opinion. And it's not like, you know, one of the other piles, I think it was group number 1, perhaps, where it's like very outspoken and sometimes to the point where it can offend some people just because you just speak so bluntly. But with you, I don't feel like you necessarily share your opinions without being asked. You know, I feel like you keep your opinions to yourself, and then if someone asks you, then that's when you share it. But you're not sort of like advertising your own thoughts out there in the world, and sort of there's not sort of that level of transparency. Even that's not the right word, because it almost makes it sound like you're hiding things, but you're not. It's not that you're hiding things. It's just, you know, you don't have this desire to throw your opinions out there and try to persuade other people to agree with you. Do you know what I'm saying? It's not like you're campaigning for anything and trying to appeal to the masses in any way and trying to guide them. It's like, you know, like everyone's on their own journey, everyone's on their own path, and who are you to dictate and feel like you know best for everybody on their journey? I feel like that's the level of wisdom that's so beyond average, you know, where it's like, you know when to intervene and when not to. Maybe many of you too are reflectors. Are you familiar with human design? Human design is like such an amazing tool, to be honest. So most people on the world are generators. And then the next common one is manifestors. And then after that we have reflectors and or projectors. And reflectors is the most rare type. So I feel like you're more of a projector, and maybe some of you are reflectors too, but the projector is someone who has so much wisdom, who is such a great problem solver, but they need to be invited or asked to give their opinion first before they can, or else it's going to fall on deaf ears. Like people aren't going to listen, you know, even though you know what would be beneficial for people, you cannot tell them until they ask you, because then they won't be ready to receive the message and that wisdom that you have to give. So I feel like that's definitely your vibe here. And your future spouse probably likes to come to you for advice on top of other people in your world as well, in your sort of social circle. They think you have great advice. You offer really good counsel. And we have the Six of Chalices here. So I feel like, again, this is that past life energy coming through. So I'm almost getting the sense that maybe your future spouse is not as awakened as you are. And I don't know, maybe part of their contract with this incarnation is that they forgot a lot of their past lives and past energies. But they do have a connection with you, and it's, to them, it may be unexplainable, but I feel like you know. You know, girl. You know that you shared lifetimes together, that you agreed and made a contract, and were destined to meet each other again in this lifetime. So you have this knowledge versus maybe your future spouse. It just feels very magical to them, you know, until perhaps maybe they will open up and receive those downloads and information in this lifetime as well. So so your future spouse, I guess maybe to sum it up a little bit, they really appreciate your free and independent thinking. They find that really sexy, because again, you teach them something. So it sounds like your future spouse enjoys being mentally and intellectually stimulated. So that's one thing. The second thing here is, oh my gosh, I lost my train of thought because I was looking at this Three of Cups and thought to myself, we did not talk about this. So let's do it now since I lost my train of thought. With the Three of Cups, what I'm seeing here is you know how to exist in harmony with a lot of people who have different opinions, okay? You know, when people have opposing viewpoints, I think the default setting is to like, we're enemies, we're not friends, us versus them kind of mentality. But your energy is very much more coexisting, where it's like, just because we have different opinions doesn't mean we can't get along, doesn't mean we can't work towards a common goal or make our situation better, our society better, our workplace better, our neighborhood better. And so you see sort of like different opinions as an opportunity for maybe growth and expansion, versus some people, they see it as a source of conflict, a source of division, a source of like they have to conquer it. You know what I'm saying? Again, the us versus them mentality, either or. But you see everything as more possibilities, as accepting, as a piece of the greater whole, and all pieces have value and have importance. Now I remember what my other thought is. So not only do they appreciate your intellectual, independent, free-thinking mind, but you're very unique, okay? Again, hello, starseed, lightworker, like very unique beings, very unique souls. And it's like you're different than anyone they've ever met before. And that's what's so irresistible and enticing to them. Because you're just not like everybody else. And that's beautiful. I love that. It's like you're the unicorn, you know? Unicorns have become so popular lately as these mythical, magical, rare beings. And that's you, honey. You are like a unicorn. So let me know what you thought about your reading in the comments down below. If you liked any part of the reading, please, please, please give this video a thumbs up, give it a like. And I've been doing my best to post at least 3 times a week on a schedule, but like I'm losing track of time these days. So if you enjoy my readings, not only should you subscribe to this channel, but please turn on the notifications so that you are notified whenever I post another reading for you to enjoy and gain beautiful, helpful insight on. So until next time, Group 3, thank you so much. I will see you around. Bye!